running back. Buffs 44% on third down. Sets, throws, crossing pattern caught by Travis Hunter. Spins away from the defender to the 10-yard line, to the 5, to the end zone. I'm telling you, he is not human. He's from another world. Travis Hunter, after missing 3 games, he caught it on a crossing pattern. He spun a man into the ground and then took it to the end zone of 24 yards.
Well, it was great to see Travis Hunter back in the field after missing 3 games, playing both sides of the ball. There he scores his first career touchdown as a Colorado Buffalo. Ended up going over 100 yards rather, with 2 touchdowns. Hi, everybody. Buffalo Stampede, voice of the bus, Mark Johnson, Coach Gary Barnett. But what a turnaround of that ball game. Colorado went 29-0 at the half, end up losing in overtime, 46-43, losing a 29-point lead. What do you say after a ball game like that when you stand in front of your team?
Oh, well, first of all, you got to be real careful because you can't lose it. You know, you've got to have time to filter this, and you've got to have time to think about this and process it. Nobody could feel any worse than they do, except maybe you as a coach, but and your coaches, because it always means more to the coaches than it does to the players. I don't care what level it is, and So but I think you're measured. You need time before you can really sit down and talk about this thing. You let them know that this comes with the territory. You know, as many people as that cheered you out there and your pictures everywhere. Guess what? They're gonna question everything you did and wonder why, and all of a sudden you're not gonna be the guy they thought you were. So you gotta live with that too. It comes with the territory.
Gary, it was really 2 different halves here. Colorado dominating in the first half. They came out with a Bear defense that was dominating. Then everything changed in the second half. Really interesting how you got that disparity.
I don't think I've ever seen 2 completely different halves in a football game like I've seen in this one. And for whatever reason, both teams changed. You know, Stanford quit doing what they were doing on defense. They were dropping 8, letting us have it. They stopped that, started bringing pressure like everybody else has throughout the year. We were playing a very aggressive defense in the first half. We didn't play it in the second half. I think, Mark, that 97-yard touchdown, to me, when I watched that, I just saw air go out of our building. Yeah. And I'm sure off of that sideline as well.
Yeah, 97-yard touchdown by Alec Iomanner, and he was dominant. Nearly 300 yards receiving in the ball game. Couldn't cover him. After this ball game, when Colorado loses a 29-point lead, we hear from head coach Deion Sanders.
Presented by Coors Light. Coors Light, mountain cold refreshment made to chill. Celebrate responsibly.
Just in like how I felt going in at halftime. We come back out, and here comes the complacency. Here comes that team that I can't stand, that you can't stand, that you can't understand how in the world that happens to us. But it did. Didn't turn it back on, I think, until late in the fourth quarter when we were able to go down and get a score, and we go down, and then they tied up and we got overtime, and you don't want to go in overtime because they have nothing to lose. Nothing to lose. I was surprised that they kicked the field goal the first time. I thought they was just going to go for 2 and try their best to get it over with. But they were resilient. Big win by them. Horrible loss by us. We didn't play well, not just Travis. I think it all started when we gave up on the 97-yard touchdown. Our secondary did not play the best game, especially at the cornerback position. We're not built for the moment. Some of our players aren't built for the moment where they have to make a play, or they have to keep contained, or they have to make a block, or they have to get another yard. We're not built for the moment right now.
Now, some very honest comments from Coach Prime after the ball game. Buffs fall in double overtime. We continue with Coach Gary Barnett. You said that's one thing about Coach Prime that you appreciate, his honesty and frankness, the way he handled himself in these tough situations.
Yeah, and you know, he's really eloquent. He really says what needs to be said at the time, and all coaches want to do that. Yeah. We're maybe not as good as maybe Coach Sanders is doing it, but it's hard. You know, it's just I hate to keep saying it comes with the territory, but when you sign up to be a coach, that's what you sign up for. Those are your kids, and you've got to get them through this. Okay, and yelling at them doesn't get them through it. You've got to get through it, and you've got to handle it the right way. And so, you know, he's got his work cut out for him, he and his coaches. The hardest thing really is going to be his discussions with his coaches. Yeah, they're grown men. he's not responsible.
Gonna be very
raise
honest
them.
there,
He's
right?
going to be very honest. Yeah.
The Buffaloes had 2 receivers over 100 yards. Xavier Weaver, who's been so solid during his tenure here for the Buffaloes. Travis Hunter, also over 100 yards. First time in Colorado history, 2 receivers over 100 yards, each with 2 touchdowns. Travis went out there, and that was a tough matchup for him tonight on Isle Manor. I mean, that was a premier matchup of 2 high-level players. That was a very tough, difficult cover for him.
It was, and you know, the interesting thing to me is they weren't afraid to go after Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
You know, he caught, how many balls? 13 for 294 yards.
Yeah.
Not all of them on Travis.
Right.
But they had no hesitancy throwing that ball in his direction with Travis Hunter.
All right. They say there is a good time for a bye week. There's a bad time for a bye week. Coming off this ball game, you think this is a bad time?
I wouldn't like it. You know, you need to get this taste out of your mouth, and to sit there and gnaw on it and chew on it for 2 weeks, I'm telling you, it drives you nuts.
Yeah.
And especially if you don't know your kids. And there's no way for Coach Sanders to know these kids the way he would if he'd recruited them all, brought them here, been with them for a couple of years. He's been with them for, months.
Yeah.
So if you don't know them, then you don't know what to expect, and you're not quite sure how to deal with them. And so you just have to wing it and do as best as you can.
Yeah, with the bye week, now you got to suck on this bitter pill for 2 weeks. They play in 2 weeks at UCLA in the Rose Bowl. Still don't have a game time on that one. Colorado falls in double overtime, 46-43. We'll talk with our sideline reporter, Andy Lindahl, coming up next.